They're luxury, romance, and money in motion. They are as exclusive as a private jet and as expensive as a mobile mansion.
The craftsmanship make these cars a Rolls-Royce of rail cars.
Opulent, elegant, one-of-a-kind vintage rail cars hitching a ride, transporting train travel from a time gone by into the 21st century.
All aboard!
We're about to take you for an incredible ride on board the most unusual, the most over-the-top rail cars in America. There's only one place on Earth where California, Utah, and Kansas come together. It's on the American Railway Explorer line. 3 custom cars, tricked out to be better today than the day they were built.
I think that people will look at these cars and say, this is the way it should have been. Maybe it wasn't the way it ever was. They don't look like 1950, but boy, if you could have done it right, this is how they would have been.
Jim Bain, president of the American Railway Explorer line, says the California, Utah, and Kansas first came together in Colorado, all from different railroads. They were used as part of the ski train through the Rockies. Today, the 3 cars look like a matching set, and they charter for thousands of dollars apiece.
I don't think that you would ever notice that these 3 cars, the Utah, the California, and the Kansas, would have fit together at all.
The California domed car originally ran from Chicago to Seattle on the Northern Pacific Railway. The Kansas was the private car of the president of the Rio Grande Railroad. And the Utah, originally built in 1948, was a coach car for the Rock Island Railroad. Later, it sold to the Casablanca Ceiling Fan Company and was converted into a traveling showroom.
If you can imagine, there were ceiling fans throughout this car. It's kind of scary for tall people. It traveled the country, showing off their product line. When we acquired it, we converted it into this beautiful lounge car.
This is how the Utah used to look. And this is how it's been reconfigured today. More than $500,000 later.
Well, we ripped out everything. Took it down to its bare walls, and then started laying in all this nice mahogany. And the ceiling was reconfigured to be like this with these little drop panels above. And all the mechanical systems were renewed, too. We built in the bar down at the other end, too. It didn't have a bar before.
And Jim says no matter where the train tracks lead the Utah, its bar is now called
Best bar in town.
The Utah, along with the California and the Kansas, now look like they were made for each other. And that's all by design.
There was a great deal of influence from the Orient Express. Owner had gone over and had ridden the Orient Express and came back with a vision of how he wanted these cars to be. So we created cars that looked like the Orient Express, but in America.
There was only one person who could make that happen.
Mr. James Park of London was involved with the renovation of the Simplon Orient Express train, and so we had him come over and he did the architecture for these cars.
All 3 cars are decked out in deep, dark mahogany, accented with a bird's eye maple. A rare combination that you may not be able to find anywhere else.
We take a lot of pride in that. The woods, as we understand now, would be almost impossible to get because the hardwoods are so hard to find anymore.
Even the partition doors that separate the sleepers in the California are made out of mahogany. Beautiful and still functional.
One of the great things about these suites in the California car, they're master suites, this wall can be moved back and folded away to create a much larger room. This bed would fold down, and this bed actually drops down out of the ceiling, so you'd sleep 4 people in this room.
The the wood is only part of the Orient Express package. No detail was left undone. Everything is patterned after the original.
All these carpets and the fabrics here were all imported from Holland. It's mohair, and it's the same type that they use in a Rolls-Royce. The carpets themselves were specially woven for us with a pattern that we designed in England and brought over.
There are even real pieces of the Orient Express on board.
The draperies, these little table lamps were all from the Orient Express as well, so it emulates it quite well.
They may look like sisters, but they are definitely not identical triplets. The California could be the prettiest of the three. It sleeps 16 and has a dome like no other private car on the tracks today.
There's several of them that run across the nation, but ours is the prettiest.
Most of the domers running the rails today use metal to frame the giant windows. The California is carved wood.
Woodworkers are amazing to me. I mean, how they can create something like this. And it wasn't really bent wood, they were carved pieces of wood. So you start with a very large piece and carve it down into just the curve that you need here. It was just a lot of small workmanship. And as you kind of notice around here, there really aren't any nail holes or any kind of way that, how did they hold this whole thing together? Blind joints and stuff that they did in here, that's a mystery to me.
One mystery Jim can clear up is how dome cars were born. They were modeled after the old planes from World War II.
The Vista Dome was actually invented in the Glenwood Canyon in Colorado. A locomotive engineer was going through and enjoying this magnificent view through the canyon and thought there ought to be a way for passengers to enjoy this too. So he had had some military experience with B-52s or something, you know, had this curved glass idea, and so he adapted that to a rail car, and they created the Vista Dome.
The California has the best view. The Utah is the party car. But the Kansas has a platform where the rich and famous have stood.
The World Economic Summit came to Denver, and so they were looking for something to do with the spouses of the world leaders. And we were chosen to take them up to Winter Park for a luncheon. So all the first ladies, and one of those being Hillary Clinton. We've also had Neil Young, Seal, and a few other stars on the train, too.
These three fabulous cars are all stars in their own right. Heavenly works of art, with the devil in the detail.
One of the great details of the cars is exquisite marquetry work that they did. These are inlaid pieces of wood that were all done in England. This is the Surgo lily, which is the state flower for Utah, which is this car that we're in. The other cars, the California has the poppy, Kansas has the sunflower.
The Kansas also has tulips lighting up the lounge. And etched in the glass. One more little thing about these cars that helps us remember the elegance of the past and sets a new standard for excellence.
We think that the craftsmanship and the woodwork and all the little details make these cars are more like a Rolls-Royce of rail cars.
The California Zephyr is a picture postcard in motion. At sunset, the glass Vista domes serve as a canopy to a kaleidoscope sky. Colors explode as the sleek silver cars streak down the California coastline. But the Zephyr first hit the rails in the days of black and white, back in 1948.
Like old man River itself, the California Zephyr keeps rolling along.
It was the missing link between East and West. The California Zephyr ran from the San Francisco Bay to Chicago. It was once known as the most glamorous train in America.
I think it was part of a wow factor.
Bert Hermie is restoring 3 of the California Zephyr's original cars. The Silver Lariat, a dining car. The Silver Solarium, a Vista View dome. And the Silver Rapids, a sleeper car. The Zephyr was first retired from the rails in 1980. And Bert says these beautiful cars were in desperate need of repair.
They were really rough, all of them. At some point during its retirement, there were transients that were in here. One pair of chairs had been burned. Amtrak welded the doors shut, welded bars over the windows in an attempt to prevent that from continuing. And I guess they were successful. It took us a day or so to get into the car, too.
And once Bert and his crew broke through the bars, the cars were even in worse shape than he originally thought.
The upholstery had been sliced and torn, and up here in the dome, it had rotted because of the sun.
It took 4 years and plenty of money to restore these spectacular cars of the Zephyr back to their former glory.
This car, we've got between $400,000 and $500,000 in it. That's mostly materials cost, because both my partner and I are pretty hands-on. There are some things that we've had to contract out, but not really all that many. If it were to go into a shop, it would have been double that.
Despite the damage, some of the signature beauty items...
Nestled in the heart of Gurgaon lies Central Park 2, the premium residential development that's like living inside one of the world's most exclusive resorts. The only resort development in the NCR region, designed exclusively for the successful family. Resort living brings a feeling of openness and freshness, with green spaces for families to play, exercise, or simply relax and enjoy the beauty of nature. The tranquil landscape, walkways, cycleways, and jogging tracks allow for scenic sojourns through the community's mature flora and retreats. Central Park 2 follows on from the incredibly successful Central Park 1, which set the benchmark for luxury living in Gurgaon. Living in an enclave, you're part of a well-organized and well-managed environment in which your safety, comfort, and interests are intelligently protected. And there's no better way to wind down after a day's work than with a relaxing stroll around the parks, while children enjoy themselves in the play areas. The fun never ends with so many leisure facilities available, from tennis and basketball courts to the health clubs and gyms. All active residents can make the most of the top-class facilities. Meanwhile, those who enjoy sipping a latte while watching the world go by will enjoy the cafes, which add to the luxurious standard of leisure and living that characterize Central Park 2. Leading international designers such as HOK and HBA from Singapore, RKA from India, Green Architects and PIA from Thailand have worked together to create the residences and the landscaped environment. Created with the discerning homeowner in mind, resort residences are tastefully designed to reflect the owner's high aesthetic sense and is destined to become the finest address of the privileged few. Central Park 2 is a unique lifestyle choice, with homes that feature balconies from every room and light-filled spaces that exude an elegant style and sense of freedom, truly ideal for lovers of modern living. It's a place which has been designed to create a resort lifestyle that is a balance of understated luxury and unspoiled natural surroundings. Central Park 2, the resort living. Why wait?
Clouds is an installation work by Swiss artist Olaf Brüning. It was installed at the Doris Friedman Plaza on the southeastern corner of Central Park by East 60th Street. The work was on exhibit between March and October of 2014. The installation consists of 6 bright blue colored clouds made of polished and painted aluminum and were cut to match a hand drawing by the artist. They reached a height of nearly 35 feet above the plaza, and each was anchored on supports that resembled climbing ladders. The compositional forms were arranged one next to the other at varying heights. Clouds are symbols of inner peace, spiritual harmony, and compassion. The color blue can represent truth, wisdom, heaven, eternity, devotion, tranquility, loyalty, and openness. Together, these elements vocabulary that connect us to the more ennobling aspects of existence in a city where life can be overwhelmingly challenging. Clouds transformed the surrounding landscape, lending to the idea that the immediate and surrounding setting was a fictional, stage-like tableau where climbing to the clouds was an artistic possibility. Like Central Park's democratizing effect of refining and elevating people's spirits, anyone with the ability to gaze up or climb up could reach these clouds, thus expanding their creative potential to manifest their soul's intent. Thank you for your attention. Please share and like the 5D Guide Facebook page or subscribe on YouTube for more videos. You can also connect by visiting 5dguide.com.